Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to focus our lesson on Chapter 8 of Bud Not Buddy, vocabulary words 6 to 10. I have another video lesson that focuses on vocabulary words 1 to 5, so hopefully you've already checked that out. But this lesson will focus on vocabulary words 6 to 10. For this lesson, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper or journal page. And you're going to divide the paper into 3 equal parts or thirds, 1, 2, 3. You can do that by drawing 2 lines. And then you're going to write numbers 6 to 10. And for each number, you're going to write the vocabulary word or words. In the second column, you're going to write a synonym. And an example of a synonym is combine is a synonym or the same as mix. If you don't catch a synonym or a short definition, you can write the word a second time. That's okay. In the third column, I want you to draw a quick picture or sketch to help you remember the word. If you need to right now, push pause, get a pencil and a piece of paper, and write numbers 6 to 10. And when you're ready to join us, push play again. For this lesson, our learning target is I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important vocabulary words from Chapter 8 of Bud Not Buddy. Success criteria, that means how will you know you're successful at using these pictures and context clues to understand the vocabulary words? Well, here are our steps to success. I will, number 1, write down each vocabulary word. 2, write a synonym or short definition for each word. 3, listen and follow along to each quote from the chapter and look for the vocabulary word. And then finally 4, go back and draw a quick sketch for each word. And don't worry, you can always push pause if I'm going too fast. And at the end of the lesson, I will have a review slide with all 5 of the words, 6 to 10. So number 6, Chapter 8, Jumbo A and P sardines. So number 6 is sardines, S-A-R-D-I-N-E-S. More than one sardine is sardines. What are sardines? Canned fish. Canned fish. Tiny fish that they put in a can. So write sardines. A synonym or a short definition could be canned fish. And sardines are a small fish that are often canned. They were popular because they were a cheap source of protein. Grocery stores would have their names stamped onto the can like the A and P. So A and P was actually the name of a grocery store. So here's our quote. A woman handed me and Bugs a flat, square, and empty tin can. That, my lords, is your china or plate. Please be careful not to chip it. My china or plate has the words Jumbo A and P sardines stamped into the bottom of it. So they used a sardine can as their plate when they ate their meal. So there is an example of some small sardines and a clip art of a sardines in a can. That Bud didn't have the sardines, he just had the actual tin can that he used as a plate. Number 7 for Chapter 8, Hooverville. Hooverville. Earlier in the chapter, Bud thought it was Hooperville with a P, but it's actually called Hooverville. It's a nickname. And here I will explain it. A Hooverville is a place where the poor live. It's a slum. So every large city in the Great Depression, during the Great Depression, had a poor population living in shacks on the edge of town near the railroads. These slums were sarcastically called Hoovervilles after President Hoover, whom many people blamed for the Depression. So there's a picture of a Hooverville. that's by the railroads, and they're slums that people nicknamed Hoovervilles after President Hoover. And when the Depression began, Hubert Hoover, the president, said it was only temporary. He did not believe the government should give assistance to the people. But soon, millions of people were out of work, and they had to live in these poor areas they called Hoovervilles, in these shacks. So make sure you've written Hooverville, named after President Hubert Hoover, and it's a slum or a place where poor people live. And again, here's some examples of life in a Hooverville. Oftentimes they lived in shacks or cardboard boxes because they were out of work and there was no work to be found. All right, for number 8, chapter 8, billy clubs, right? Billy clubs, B-I-L-L-Y, clubs, C-L-U-B-S. Billy clubs were wood bats that were used as weapons by local police to keep the peace. So there's some trained police right there, and they have their billy clubs or their wood bats. The cops all had billy clubs and were spread out to protect the train. That's what Bud said. And what are billy clubs? Wood bats used as weapons. Wood bats used as weapons, and they were wood bats that the train police used. All right, here's our last slide. We've got number 9, Mr. Pinkerton. Number 9 is Mr. Pinkerton. The cop said, "I don't like these odds. Mr. Pinkerton ain't paying me enough to do this." He threw his cop hat and billy club on the ground. So Pinkerton's was a private detective agency that hired railroad police to keep people from riding the rails. And here is commies is number 10. So make sure for number 9 you have Mr. Pinkerton. A synonym could be detective agency or police. And then number 10 is commies. Commies, C-O-M-M-I-E-S, commies. Commie or communist is a political party member who believes in government ownership of all property and equal distribution of all wealth. So number 10 is commies. It's a political party member who believes in government ownership of all property and equal distribution of all wealth. A man next to me said, "I'd rather be shot than sit around and watch my children go hungry." The cop said, "This is America, boys. You're sounding like a bunch of commies. You know I can't let you on this train. I got kids to feed too, and I'd lose my job." So the train police from Mr. Pinkerton's detective agency was telling the man who wanted to ride the rails, he said, "You sound like a bunch of commies. You know I can't let you on this train. I got kids to feed too, and I'd lose my job." All right, so let's check your work for chapter 8, words 6 to 10. We've got number 6, I should say. Number 6 was sardines, and I highlighted the word fish, canned fish. Number 7 is Hooverville, a place where poor live, a slum named after President Hubert Hoover. Billy clubs, wood bats used as weapons, billy clubs. Mr. Pinkerton, a private detective agency that hired railroad police to keep people from riding the rails. And finally, 10, commies, people who belong to the Communist Party. Communists believe that wealth should be shared. All right, so if you need to push pause, make sure you have sardines and the synonym and the picture, Hoover, Hooverville, Billy Clubs, Mr. Pinkerton, and commies. And when you're done writing all these words, their synonyms and a quick sketch, push play. All right, let's reflect on our learning target. What was our learning target? I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from Chapter 8 of Bud Not Buddy. Would you give yourself a 4? I could teach this lesson. I easily wrote all the vocabulary words with the synonym or short definition and quick sketch. Did you write all the words, the synonym, and the picture? If so, give yourself a 4. Or would you give yourself a 3? I wrote all the vocabulary words and idioms. I wrote a synonym or definition and drew a quick sketch for most of the words. If you did it for most of the words, give yourself a 3. 2, I wrote most of the vocabulary and drew a picture for some of the words, or I wrote a synonym for some of the words, maybe less than half. If so, give yourself a 2. Or 1, I wrote some of the vocabulary words but did not write a synonym and or a picture for each word. So write your reflection on the top of your paper. And thank you for going over the important vocabulary words 6 through 10 with me today. Have a great day.